expecting the new iPhone SE any day now. There were rumors it could come out today. Probably not at this point since it's already practically lunchtime. Usually they make their announcements in the morning. But yeah, it looks like we're going to get the iPhone SE 4 and goodbye iPhone SE 3. Now, I will get an iPhone SE 4. I have covered the iPhone SEs for a long time. Actually, probably most of my iPhone coverage that people actually care about has been over the iPhone SE. Why? Because I value value, right? I feel dumb saying that. I feel like I'm watching Gladiator 2 again, and Maximus' son, Minimus, the guy up there, he's like, this is about survival. Survive. Like, that's really inspiring, dude. Anyway, so, yeah, this is about value. Value. So, is Apple even capable of making anything that's worth value at this point in time? I mean, yeah, but they're very expensive. They've had a rough year this last year with the big giant flop of the Apple Vision Pro, a $4,000 VR headset. They've had some other questionable decisions. They've been tied up in lawsuits. They had the EU breathing down their throat, making them make changes. But they're back with another iPhone that will be cheaper, supposedly, right? So we know that the cheapest iPhone you can get right now is basically $799, right? Really, it's $829, but it's $799. Kind of, I guess. You go through a carrier, then they charge you a $30 activation fee. If you buy it unlocked, they charge you $829. It's weird to me that they do that. But anyway, so the new iPhone SE, it's going to make some people happy. It's going to make some people mad. Why? Because it appears from all the leaks, you see the photo back there, and that's compliments of actually a good buddy of mine. He's got a website called The Shortcut, right? So check out his website there. Matt Swider, real good guy, good friend of mine. And he's got a lot of great insights on deals and stuff. So I hope you appreciate the free plug, Matt. So the iPhone SE picture, I wanted to have it back up there on my new TV that I have instead of the janky looking wall tiles. You're welcome. I've been putting affiliate revenue to good use. So it was a $200 TV. So anyway, so the iPhone SE 4 is going to, from everything we know, abandon the things that make the iPhone SE the SE, right? It's going to lose the iconic Touch ID, no longer have the fingerprint scanner down on the bottom. Looks like it's going to go to Face ID, which will make a lot of people unhappy. And then it looks like it's still going to have one camera, but instead of a really old 12 megapixel camera, it looks like it's going to get updated to the 48, but probably no telephoto, no ultra wide. Should have good battery. I was doing some reading, and it looks like Apple is actually going to put their own modem in it instead of going with Qualcomm. I think that, at least from the speculative article I was reading, was Apple wants to kind of get away from some of their reliance on Qualcomm in certain areas and think they can do it better or better integration with their A-series chip. So that'll be cool. We'll see how that works. Probably won't work as well as the Qualcomm chip. But yes, it's going to have the latest Bionic chip, which is the A18, and presumably 8 gigabytes of RAM. So that's something that's interesting here because it's going to get Apple Intelligence. Apple Intelligence, it seems like, of course, Apple has been pushing this whole thing since the iPhone 16 came out. And whenever we got that one, we had to wait, of course, for iOS 18.1, then 18.2, 18.3 is here. Like, we still don't have it fully developed and deployed. So the iPhone SE 4 will jump in the middle of that, and of course you can do your emojis, and you can do your summaries, and you can do all that stuff. But yeah, I don't think Apple Intelligence is going to be a big sell for this phone, but I was reading an article, it looks like Morgan Stanley is predicting about 15 million sales, so that's actually not the greatest in the world for Apple, but if you look at it from any other metric, it's pretty fantastic, because even the S24 Ultra, which was, I think, the best-selling year ever for Samsung's Ultra phone, I think they sold about 14, 17 million this last year, so of that particular model. So yeah, if you can sell that many in a budget phone, then yeah, it's still a good metric. But anyway, yeah, it's going to make some people happy because there should be presumably a cheaper option out there. I'm worried it's going to be around the $500 price point. Right now, you can still get the iPhone SE 3, SE 2022 on Apple's website for $429, which is entirely too much money at this point. I bought this one off of eBay refurbished a year ago, and I paid like $179 for it. So the people that still have these, it's going to be hard to pry this out of their hands because they like Touch ID. They like the smaller form factor. They like the 4.7-inch screen. They like the more traditional iPhone approach. And that's one thing that I think kept them viable for so long. And the iPhone SE 2020, it sold over 20 million phones its first year, if I remember correctly. Even the iPhone SE 2022, I think it sold close to that. I mean, between 15 and 20, maybe. I know they initially had their sales estimates and then they lowered them because by that point, most people that wanted one didn't see the value in upgrading because all they did was add 5G and a new chip. So there wasn't a whole lot that really changed the day-to-day performance. People that buy these phones, people that buy cheap phones, people that buy value phones, buy them for that very reason. And then they have features that they like. So if you're going to change the price and go up, if it's going to go up some, and then you're going to take away their button, and then you're going to take away the form factor, and then supposedly it looks like it's going to be a 6.1-inch screen. So the same size as the regular iPhone. Like the iPhone SE4 presumably will be the same size as the iPhone 16. Nobody's asking for that. Now, if you could still get one at like 5.5, 5.6, at least a smaller form factor, but Apple, if they go this route, they're doing basically what everybody else is, trying to typecast and shove everything into these same generic sizes so they can just produce one mold. That way they can go, oh, we'll make this cheap one, we'll make this cheap one, we'll make this cheap one. We'll keep reusing the same thing because it keeps the research and development costs down, it keeps manufacturer costs down, and it keeps profit margins higher. So instead of actually giving people what they want, and I would love to see it because they've done this with like the iPad Air. If they had the fingerprint scanner built into the power button, I think that would kind of bridge the gap a little bit because a lot of people, I remember my mom, I miss her dearly. We lost her this last year. She had an iPhone 7 and she ended up getting an iPhone 13 mini because she had one of the notorious iPhone 7s that had the handset speaker issue where it just quit working. So she couldn't hear anything when she talked to people anymore. Well, when she went into the carrier, she didn't ask me. She's just like, I'll just go get the new one. And, me being, I mean, I guess a de facto expert, she should have asked me for advice. She went and thinking she was going to get a new iPhone 7, iPhone 8. They're like, oh, we'll give you the iPhone 13 mini for free. She's like, okay, cool. It's about the same size. And then she gets it. And then she realizes I have to use Face ID. What is this Face ID? I don't want to use, I like my touch button. Where's my touch ID at? I don't like this stuff. And then she was stuck with it because she was locked into an agreement because of course she didn't tell me until after she'd already had the phone for over 2 weeks. So I think a lot of the target demographics for this phone are this. Now, I've still had the dream that one day we would get the iPhone SE Plus, 5.5-inch version, 2 cameras, and basically be like the iPhone 8 Plus. I love the 8 Plus. That was such a good phone, and I really never cared about it. I don't even use Face Unlock with most of my phones. I only use it with iPhone because I have to. Even my mom, when she switched over, she hated Face ID. She would use a pen. She fought it a lot more than I did. So it's one of those things where Touch ID is important, form factor is important, and they're taking away Touch ID and form factor, and we'll see what happens with price. Now, it's going to be supported for a long time. It's going to be another option, but it's also, I think, going to be cannibalistic because when you take a look at iPhone's lineup, if you're selling a $400 or $500 iPhone, most people don't care about an ultra wide lens, or most people don't care about some of the other features and don't want to pay $800 for a phone. Here's my advocacy for this. Like, I don't have a huge problem with the 60 hertz screen being in a $400 iPhone. I never had a problem with the 60 hertz screen being in a $400 iPhone or when I got for $100, a year later. I greatly have a problem with an $800 iPhone having a 60 hertz screen, having a crappy LCD panel for the longest time. Like, they purposely dumb it down so they can make more money off of people. They were selling up until they had to push up and give a better chip, put everybody on the same page, probably because of economy of scale, so that they could do their Apple Intelligence push. They were still the previous year giving the regular iPhone the previous Pro Series chip that was a year old already. So Apple has never really won to give you what you should get. They give you what they think you should get, and then they charge you more than you should pay for it. And that's typically Apple's legacy. Now, the iPhone SE was like an exception. They're like, okay, we recognize people like our old form factor. We recognize people don't care. They're fine with one camera for $400. We recognize that most of the people that get this are older legacy iPhone users, people on a budget, people who don't like the cool new stuff, or children or teenagers. And I think this phone will still target some of that demographic, and it'll still target people in the teenage category, the younger kid category. I think they'll probably lose on some of the older customers in the legacy adoption rate. And then, yeah, no more Touch ID. So no more form factor, no more smaller iPhone. I loved the iPhone SE because it was small. I liked having a 4.7-inch screen. I know that the 6.1 is not substantially bigger, but at the end of the day, people like this. People really like this, and millions, like 20s and 30s and 40s and millions of people bought them over the course of the iPhone SE, SE20, and SE 2022. So I'm excited in some ways because I think Apple still needs to have a cheaper phone option. I think it's crazy they've still been selling this one for $400 on their website. So we'll see what happens. I will buy one. I will cover it whenever it gets here. And I really like I like the SE brand. I like the SE value because I always felt like it gave me what I wanted in an iPhone, right? I never really liked iPhones. I thought they were dated. I thought that they didn't have the latest specs. I've always been an Android person. So when you're trying to sell me an $800 iPhone that's got two cameras, a 68 hertz screen, bad, like not good battery life, small battery, slow charging, and just not that high profile of a phone, right? I really don't appreciate the regular iPhone. It was cool when they came out with the Pro, but then they charge you out the rear for that, and it was still usually behind in the Android world. I mean, I have no problem admitting I'm an Android person because they give you all the things. iPhone doesn't give you all the things unless you pay a lot of money for it. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out because I think it will undercut some of their regular sales. I think it does have these niche little market demographics where I think it can shine. And it's also sad because this guy right here, iPhone SE 2022, iPhone SE 20, iPhone SE, like those were the iPhones I bought. I didn't care about an iPhone 10. I didn't care about an iPhone 11. I had an iPhone SE. And then I had an iPhone SE 2020 and an iPhone SE 2022. I loved them because the form factor, the size, the value, the price, and it gave me all the Apple services, Apple ecosphere. You could connect it to the Apple Watch. It did everything you needed to do, but you didn't have to pay the Apple tax. So we'll see how much Apple tax is built into this one, how well it works out. But yeah, I'll play the wait and see. I'm not passing any judgment, but from everything that we've seen, it does look like that is going to be the future and not this. So that's all I got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button, especially if you want new iPhone SE content, because I will make it once I get my phone. And Apple doesn't send me a phone. I would be surprised. Tim Cook probably has my name on a wall somewhere, because I'm not the biggest Apple advocate. I appreciate the hardware. I just don't like the business or their business models and how they do things. So anyway, we'll move on. Hope if you want more iPhone SE content, then make sure you come back, hit the like and the subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time.